Let's call this meeting to order with a moment of silence. Thank you. First item is approve the agenda.
Motion to approve the agenda.
Support. Motion made and seconded to approve the agenda. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Motion to approve the minutes of September 6th.
Motion to approve the minutes from September 6th. Support.
Motion made and seconded to approve minutes of September 6th. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Conservation report. Dave?
Morning.
Morning.
Morning. First thing that I've got on my list is 3 board members. Myself spent 3 days last week at the Iowa Association of County Conservation Boards Conference. Is up in the Fort Dodge, Webster City area. Went on some tours, looked at some of their areas, looked at some DNR properties. Had some pretty good ideas of how they did things, how we can do things around here. Maybe we don't have the money that those counties have to work with, but you can always glean something from those projects and see how to make it work here. So it is, kind of interesting. And I was glad to see that we had 3 board members represented there. And they also talked about some of the kind of going on political issues or things that'll be coming up, trying to keep them informed. So I think it's important that our board members stay informed. The second thing, the land acquisition we're working on, I had applied for a Iowa Wildlife Habitat stamp. The DNR somehow misplaced a little bit of money. So we were awarded the grant, but they couldn't fund it. And so we had to turn down a partial. So I applied for a REAP grant, the Resource Enhancement Protection Act grant. And they offered to partially fund our project. And we had to decline that because if you take the partial payment, then that's all you can apply for. We're still in the running for 2 go-rounds with the habitat stamp, and with the score that we have, as long as the DNR can find their money that they misplaced, the next go-round by the end of the year, we should get that project funded. So that's looking pretty good. This weekend's our Youth Outdoor Field Day event, and we've changed the format a little bit. In the past, we've always had kids and their parents go in different groups, and they would go around to different stations. And we're starting to see a decline in the use by the kids because with football and soccer and all these other events, a lot of the kids could only come for part of the day, and then they would be missing out on things. So this year we've got actually 12 or 13 different stations, but the kids and their parents can go to whatever they want to in whatever order. So if somebody's got football practice in the morning, they can still come out for the partial day. And just by changing the format, we've already, last year at this time we only had like 80 kids signed up. We're over 120 right now, so we have seen an increase by changing the format. So hope that experiment works. We have our Halloween bash at the campground, which has been extremely successful. It's October 22nd. And if you guys haven't ever been out there, I'd encourage you to at least go out and look at it. Every campsite's full. We avoid prizes for the best decorated campsites. Last year we had 300 kids out there trick-or-treating and costume contests and everything, and it's kind of a fun way for us at the end of the camping season to get people in one last hurrah. And it's been really popular. And the last thing on here I have is my CCPOA, the County Conservation Peace Officers Association. Our annual update is coming out October 4th through the 6th, and so I do all my required law enforcement and first responder type updates to keep my certification going. And in the parks, we've just been, the main camping season's over. We're past Labor Day, and made it through that. We've had a really good camping year, a pretty good year with the cabins, and no major catastrophes, so that's been a good thing. Laura's been busy in the schools for programs. And working on the annual report and things like that right now.
Any questions for Dave?
Nope.
Thank you, Mr. for that. Now we got this conservation wetland mitigation thing.
Okay, you guys received copies of this wetland mitigation easement. What it is, it's, like I said, a mitigation easement that there's a company that's contracted to do wetland mitigation because of this pipeline going through. However, the Corps of Engineers requires them to have a third-party holder on the easement. The company is required to do all the establishment maintenance work of this property. They have to get everything approved and finalized through the Corps of Engineers. Once the Corps of Engineers approves that they've got everything up to where it has to be, then we'll take over the monitoring for 15 years. The Conservation Board will spend no money out of our budget to work on this. And this property also is directly adjacent to one of our areas. That's one of the reasons we got involved. And it's going to permanently protect. This is a forested wetland habitat. And then at the end of the term, then the Conservation Board will have $15,000 paid to them for being the third-party holder and the monitoring source. I've been in lengthy conversations with Jim, and he approves it. He thinks everything's fine. So, and there's other conservation boards that have also taken part in this program throughout the state.
What happens after 15 years? Does that get renewed, or is that?
And that's up to the landowner.
That's up to the landowner?
Yeah.
Okay.
In a lot of instances, because it's a permanent easement.
Okay.
And so then all our responsibility gone, but since it's a permanent conservation easement, he can't ever build on it or farm it or graze it or anything like that. A lot of cases in the past what's happened is that ground's been just turned over like to the Heritage Foundation or a conservation board or something.
Okay.
And we're talking, it's only like 4 acres, 3.8.
Oh, it's pretty small.
Yeah, it's a pretty small chunk of
Okay.
ground. But it's, they might turn it over for tax purposes then, because they'll still maintain ownership, but they can't do anything on it.
On the signature page, it just says, I think you're, Mahaska County Conservation Board.
That's what,
For both of them.
we talked to him, and they said, since this is actually, it's a real estate easement, that they want it signed, and Jim and I both thought it would be more appropriate. Our conservation boards approved it at a meeting, but since it's actual real estate, we thought it'd be more appropriate to have the Board of Supervisors actually sign the easement, just to make sure our bases are covered.
I'm a little confused. I don't really see, I see an agreement, I don't see an easement. I mean, it doesn't identify any particular land, it doesn't, I mean, an easement runs on a particular parcel.
Right, this is just the part that we had to sign. There's like 50, 60 pages of other things.
Okay. I mean, it just says third-party responsibility agreement. It doesn't, we're not signing an easement here.
No, the easement has to go between that company and the landowner.
Okay.
And we're the third-party entity on it.
So what are we approving? We're approving this agreement then, really? We're not approving an easement.
Not the easement, we're approving this agreement that we'll be the third-party holder.
It's maintenance agreement.
There's 2 signatures, one's for the long-term maintenance plan, so we're gonna approve that, and then the third-party agreement,
Yes.
maintenance agreement, third-party agreement.
And we don't incur any expense in the maintenance either.
No,
The way
that's the maintenance.
what I
That's
read,
all
I mean,
covered
that's-
there. Right.
Yeah. You're just a monitor.
Right.
Once a year? What are they-
Once a year.
Once a year you go up and, it's not a very big area, so that's probably
And it's-
$1,000 a year.
Right. And it's right next to one of our areas we're gonna be at anyhow.
You'd be there anyway.
Right.
I don't see any major issues. Move to approve the maintenance agreement and third-party responsibility agreement.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to approve the long-term management plan and maintenance agreement on the North Skunk Wetlands mitigation sites. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Thank you.
Thank you.
Proceed, go forward. Thank you.
All right, we have an expert conference coming up on November 4th. That's the regional conference. That will be held in Fairfield this year. The labor shed is now complete. I did attach the short version of the labor shed. We also have the full reports back in the office, but this is just kind of the overview of that. We're having a lunch and learn on September 26th. It's going to be at the library, 3rd floor, and it's open to anyone to come. We have 15 signed up currently, so next week Monday we'll have that take place. Katie and Ryan Murphy from Iowa Workforce Development will come down and share the results with our county labor shed, and if there's any questions on the regional ones, they can explain those as well. But I thought it'd be good just to have HR departments from the companies here or anyone else who's interested come down and at least hear how you can use the labor shed in your business. So we're going to do that next week, Monday at noon. Our MCARD board meeting will be tomorrow night at 6 p.m. Friday, I'm taking 3 FFA students to a Grow Ag conference in Ankeny. Amy Vermeer had shared that with ISU Extension, and I had shown some interest. And so she said if she had any students interested, if I'd be willing to kind of take them and be their ambassador for the day. So we have 3 that signed up for the first. We've never done it before, so that will be on Friday. So that's kind of exciting. The revolving loan fund for Knoxville Manufacturing we closed on Friday. So I'll get that reported with USDA this week. That was the $50,000 loan that we approved last month, so we got that one closed. Job fair will be November 10 from 4 to 6 p.m. at the Penn Central Mall. Last year we did it for the first time, so we'll have that again this year with good turnout, so we'll continue that event. Of course, I'm working with Amy Brink at Iowa Works. We're also doing it kind of Veterans Day is on the 11th, so we're doing it kind of in conjunction with that. We'll have a separate space where veterans can go print off resumes, business cards, applications, etc. Have some computers and printers for them. So we'll be putting that out there as well. And there's a flyer also attached in the packet here. The Entrepreneur Group, Exchange for Entrepreneurs, they meet every Friday at Smoky Row. I've gone a couple times this past month just to kind of get in touch with them, see what resources they're using, how we can kind of work together. So I've been helping them. Last week they had Brian Ziegler from Indian House come down and talk about the business plan aspect of getting a business started. So working with them. Young professionals continue to meet monthly, have their social hours, and then events. This week is an Agway Day of Caring on Wednesday. So we'll participate in that event on Wednesday. That's it. Questions?
Got anything going on?
That's it.
Oh, thanks.
Thanks, we'll see you.
Thank you,
tomorrow.
Dan. Heather.
Hi there. I sent you guys an email on Thursday for the cost report for case management. This is for services that ended on 2016 June fiscal year. We always underbill, so our rate's been low. This is our actual, what we spent, what it cost us to do services, and then IME will determine if they agree with me, and then they'll cut us an extra check. So, and I just need Willie's signature to say that you approve it.
Motion to approve.
Support. Motion made and seconded, approved. Cost report.
Yeah.
All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. There you go.
Thank you.
Next, we have approved liquor license application for Peppers, which you have, and everything's cool.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's okay to approve.
Motion to approve.
Support.
Motion made, and seconded to approve the liquor license application by Peppers. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. We did not receive the sheriff's official payroll change. Secondary roads, we have 2. I see in a letter.
Just one.
Well, we approved to put this Mr. Hay on the payroll, and he didn't take the job.
Right.
So do we have to take him off?
Yes.
Okay, I need a motion to take Mr. Madison Hay off the payroll.
Motion to
Support.
Motion made and seconded to remove Madison Hay from payrolls. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Now we have a request from the engineer to add Zachary Neff to the payroll as a laborer truck driver. His first day will be October 1.
Move to add Mr. Neff to payroll.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to add Zach Neff to the payroll. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Mr. Rodwell. Needs a signature.
Started down here, yes.
This is on.
Signatures for the final plans for our bridge replacement project on Elba Avenue near Lighton.
When would that start?
It's scheduled for December letting through the DOT. They'll set once it's let, it's pretty much up to the contractor on when they start.
Okay.
DOT will set a late start date, but the contractor can always start before then. It's possible they could start during the winter, finish in the spring, but I can't guarantee that.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to approve signature of the
Second.
bridge replacement. Motion made and seconded, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. You need to sign, everybody need to sign that one. Thank you. Committee reports, anything going on?
So I'm on the subcommittee for radio communications and putting a plan together for, see if we need a new tower or what we need to do. And the consultant is putting together their preliminary report, which is pretty extensive. There's been a lot of testing as far as seeing, driving around and putting radio out and seeing what kind of reception there is, what we need, if we need 2 towers, if we need 1 tower, what have you. So it's been a pretty extensive study so far, but it is moving forward. And after, I think, the preliminary report, they'll start together or start to consider some recommendations. So just as an update, it's moving forward, so.
Okay, thank you.
That's all I have.
Public comments?
Move to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.